In terms of the game last night, how did you kind of assess what happened on that pitch last night?
It's hard to assess too much or make too many conclusions, but I think the way the link up between Gil, Lo Celso, Kane, especially in the forward areas, was delightful. I was really enjoying that. The creativity from especially Lo Celso and Gil was definitely a lot better than it was last week. Maybe with better players around them, that was a consequence of having a poacher with movement and stuff like that in and around the penalty area. You got to say they really started to shine yesterday. Like, even though Lucas maybe didn't have the best game and Sessegnon wasn't maybe having the best game, just them being making movement in behind and being an option allowed Gil and Lo Celso to really express themselves creatively. Especially Gil, who I felt was really hard to deal with for Pacos, and he was floating in all these awkward spaces which they didn't know how to deal with him, and I think that's how the first goal came. He drifted onto left hand side, and whereas last week he's kind of been set on the left-hand side, so the right back knows he's got to mark him in that position. Because he's was given that free roll when he drifted in there, no one knew the centre back didn't know, or the centre mid didn't know to follow him in that position. No Pacos player knew to follow him, and that gave him a lot more space. And obviously there was Harry Kane to finish in the centre, and that's what maybe he can bring in that free roll. Bryan Gil potentially. We have to wait and see if it's something that he's going to be used in the future, because it requires either two sitting midfielders probably in against better opposition for sure, because if he's given a free roll without much defensive responsibility, all of a sudden it requires the two sitting midfielders to take up a lot more responsibility defensively, and also potentially, but they need to. But then we've been playing 4-3-3, haven't we? So Daddy hasn't been given a free roll. He's been being in the centre, actually less than a free roll. He's been very disciplined in the past first 2 weeks. So whether we want to interrupt that 4-3-3, put Gil in a free roll, and then be a lot more creative and attacking, we have to wait and see how Nuno sees that. So it's going to be difficult maybe in the better games to find him play that role, I feel. But it was definitely a great performance yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, as the season progresses, I mean, the team will kind of develop as well. I think that I think we'll see the same midfield three for the next two games before the international break. Then potentially after the international break, I can see Nuno switching up and trying new things as well. But yeah, I mean, it was good performance all round, to be honest, last night. There was poor performances maybe from Sessegnon and Doherty. Sessegnon, for me, again, flattered to deceive, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he struggled. I think Nuno admitted after the game he struggled, and he didn't quite. I think didn't have like a shocker or by any means, but he just struggled to really assert himself in the game.
He struggled to make like a real positive impact in the game.
That's the thing. Like he wasn't like having a shock, like every pass was going out of play or anything like that, or like miscontrolling a bunch of things. That wasn't happening. But it's kind of like when he got the opportunity to square up a fullback, he didn't have the confidence to burst past him. When he had the opportunity to put it across, the quality wasn't quite up to standard. When he was linking up with Bryan Gil, Gil was moving all around the place, doing little short passes, where Sessegnon was kind of playing the safe option, sticking out wide, wasn't kind of maybe taking a bit of risk in his play. And I felt like I was a bit disappointed in that aspect. And he just, again, it feels like a confidence thing with him. He just didn't have that confidence with himself to say, I'm better than that fullback, or I can really make a big impact. I'm going to get an assist in this game, or I'm going to get, how many shots did he have? I don't know, playing left wing in that position, very attacking position, you expect him to either, what was he so good at Fulham? Arriving at the back post and getting on the end of things. He nearly did that in the first half when Lo Celso put the ball across the face of goal, but that was the only time we really saw that from Sessegnon. And we haven't just seen those qualities from him just yet. And as Nuno said, that he feels like he's got a lot more to give than at the moment. And you've got to remember he was injured in pre-season and he's maybe playing catch up, but we still need to see more from him for sure.
I always feel like not everyone, but people. There's always excuses for Ryan Sessegnon. Oh, he's just coming back from injury. Oh, he's just coming into the team. I mean, He's been around for a while now. Obviously, he had that loan at Hoffenheim. Yes, he's still very young and has got time on his side. So I do call for patience. But as well, it's hard to give him that patience because every time we've seen him on the pitch, there's no real signs of progress. That's the problem with
we
him.
haven't seen too many good performances in a Spurs shirt. That's the truth. So maybe it's the weight of the price tag. Maybe he's not as good as we thought. Maybe he's struggled with injuries ever since he's come to Spurs. To be honest, he came injured. He got a big injury last season with Hoffenheim. He started this summer injured. So maybe he just needs to get to 100% fit, and maybe we'll see the best of him. But at the moment, so you can't argue against the fact that it's not working out for him at the moment.
Yeah. Definitely. Christian Romero making his second start. Obviously, his first start was the the away game against Pacos. Yesterday, I thought it was much, much better from him, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he much improved. I feel like with the better defenders around him and a better structure in the back, he definitely was more comfortable. He was much more able to be aggressive and win the ball back without the fear of him losing it and then being caught out in behind, which obviously happened a couple times in the first leg. And we was always also able to show a lot more quality on the ball than he was last week. That pass for Harry Kane within 20 seconds was absolutely pinpoint. That was Toby-esque. Right on Harry Kane's, right on a sixpence for Harry Kane, who should have scored really. And I felt like the amount of times we saw Romero in the opposition half, he just had confidence to fly forward and be that aggressive.
So aggressive, even in their own half, even in their own box.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just flying up there. I remember just a random point during the game in the second half, it didn't even come from a set piece or anything. We were just attacking them in their own penalty box, and he was just flying up there.
Yeah, and I'm glad he felt comfortable to do that, which maybe he didn't feel comfortable in the first leg to do. So there are definitely improvements there, and a lot of people were questioning him after the first leg. I always thought I saw enough good stuff in that first leg to say it's just a one-off bad performance, but. Still very early days in his Tottenham career. And, one good performance doesn't rule out a bad performance, but you got to say, definitely a lot of quality shown. And I'm sure, I don't think he'll start on Sunday, but I'm sure he's going to be a big player for us this season.
I think as well. Yeah, I agree. I think if Dyer and Sanchez stay kind of mistake-free, which they have done so far by and large, I think they start this weekend. If they stay mistake-free against Watford, they put in against Palace. But I do feel, regardless of mistakes, I feel Romero will come in after the international break.
Yeah, because I think after the international break, it's another chance to kind of reassess and reset. Maybe players come back with niggles and whatnot, or it depends. I have a feeling Nuno's has his merit-based system, so I have a feeling that if Sanchez and Dyer are playing well, I don't think he's going to drop them for no reason. I got that feeling, so I don't think Romero. I think Romero's going to have to earn his place in that instance. I feel that's what I get the feeling with Nuno. So I don't think. It depends how the Sunday goes. I don't necessarily think he definitely comes straight in.
No, like I said, I think he does. I think it will happen after the international break, but we'll have to see what happens. But look, it was a good, dominant display last night. Definitely much different to the first leg. Yes, it was a better side. It was great to have Harry Kane back, that's for sure. 2 goals on his return. So you got to commend the team for the way not just the way they played, but the application and the mentality that they showed on the pitch, because it's so easy to dismiss these kind of games, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Not as a fan base and as a footballer on the pitch. How many times have we seen it? How many times did Mourinho say it last year that these players feel like they're too good to play in these games? And this game was even worse than those kind of games. So performances out there from Harry Winks, who's been accused of that in the past. I thought Ben Davies was all right. Harry Winks was good. Like I said, good performance from majority of players on the pitch yesterday.
Yeah, we completely battered them. They had one chance pretty much the whole game, which was in the second half when I believe it was Lucas Silva went through on goal and should have really scored, but Galini made a good save. I guess for you can see there was definitely a different approach to the game than there was last week. Maybe because last week was a weaker side that was on the pitch, and you kind of felt like it was a bit more disjointed than it was yesterday. I felt like it was a lot more cohesive. I feel like the players were up to speed with what Nuno wanted a lot more than they were last week. So it's hard to say, but we'll put your finger on exactly why. But there definitely was a lot more aggression and a lot more. There was definitely a lot more aggression, a lot more coordination with the press and things like that. Every time the ball was in the Pacos half, you saw how high we stepped up and how aggressive we were on the Pacos defenders. And that was definitely a difference between that. Last week there was pretty much no pressing or anything on the back line, and we didn't put them under any pressure. And we saw how much joy we got, how many times Pacos gave it away in their own defensive third, and we were able to pinch it off them. And that just wasn't a feature of the game last week. So definitely there was an increase in work rate, and you got to say it paid off.
Yeah, definitely.